Philly Debatable, the show that debates the Philly sports topics you're discussing.
And here we go. Yes, indeed, another edition of Philly Debatable here. It's a Tuesday in the wonderful city of Philadelphia, where all eyes in the sporting world once again on us. This time it's because of the Philadelphia Union. Hello, I'm Sean Brace. Over on the other side, John Jansen. Good afternoon, John.
Hello, are you ready for the Messi Madness, Sean Brace?
Am I ready? I'm ready to be in it. I'm invested. I'm heading there. I can't wait for tonight. It's going to be unbelievable. See the God, Messi the God, in Chester. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is pretty unbelievable. And the ticket prices, also unbelievable.
We'll get into all of that. This is Philly Debatable, where we are debating the Philadelphia sports topics that, of course, you guys all are talking about. So with that, on August the 15th, let's not waste any minute more time, and let's get into question number one here, Philly Debatable. And, of course, we are opening up with the game this evening, heading up to Subaru Park. I'm sure a lot of people are, even without tickets. But I will be in attendance and looking forward to this. Philly versus Messi. The Philadelphia Union and Inter Miami going head-to-head. Leagues Cup, battle for a championship here. This is the semifinal game. Get to the final. There's a big-time bonus pay for any team that gets there, plus another
big time
opportunity.
for some players.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true
know,
for some players.
For
You're
Messi, is that big time, or is that just another paycheck?
We do have some major line movement because 2 days ago, the Union were plus 220 on the three-way action. They're now down to plus 175. We'll get into all that here. So over to you, John. Question number one, Philly versus Messi. Who you got?
It's really hard to bet against Philly when they're at home, especially when they're a home underdog. They're not a home underdog usually that often. I don't think ever during league play they're going to be underdogs. But now you have them as underdogs, and now against Messi, it complicates things. So I think the good thing for the Union is they score. They're a much better scoring team at home. So that's one thing that I like. Although in Leagues Cup, they haven't been scoring that well. So it's kind of, are you going to take the small sample size of what they've been recently? Are you going to take the large sample size of what they have been at Subaru Park for the better part of 2 years now? I want to lean, because you're getting the plus money and good money, I want to lean on the Union here. I think plus 175 is good. I liked it better at plus 190 and better at plus 220, as you said. But I know Messi and the magic is all there, and they're going to score, probably get a couple of goals. But the Union can score against this Miami team as well. This counterattack is going to work very well against this Miami backline. It's just, can the Union get it in the back of the net, which has been kind of the struggle for them. Not the opportunities, just the actual finishing in the final third. And if they can do that, they should be able to beat Miami. I think it's worth taking that risk at plus 175.
As we sit here right now, the team is beat up. Let's just be honest about the Philadelphia Union and their leading goal scorer in Julian Carranza, a guy that has led the way for them in multiple games this season, is unfortunately, he's not going to be playing this evening, picking up a bad hamstring injury in the last time out. So I think that's a huge deal breaker for the Philadelphia Union. As much as I want to believe in Andre Blake and the way that this defense operates, those center backs, really good. And of course, they're the backbone of the operation for Jim Curtin and his Union squad. All I know is they're going to have to score a bunch of goals. And I just don't know if they have the firepower to be able to do that. I think what you're seeing right now from Messi and everything that he's bringing on the pitch plus off the pitch, he has that Miami squad absolutely believing. I know the Union have beat them twice. They've already gotten them. I get it. It's a much different team right now, of course, with Messi the God on the other side. If Carranza was healthy, I'm taking the Union. Without Carranza, I think this is going to PKs. I think this is going to go 2-2, flip a coin, kind of a cop-out answer. But I think this is a really tough test for the Philadelphia Union without their number one goal scorer in Carranza.
Well, thankfully, the Union have the PK god in Daniel Gazdag. Even though when they've gone to PKs in extra time, it hasn't been too great for Gazdag. Obviously, in regulation, he's been fantastic on PKs. But that's kind of what the Union are going to hope for. It's going to take a little bit of luck. Of course, it always does. But the Unions, especially offensively in scoring goals, they're probably going to need to get some penalties in the box. They're probably going to need to get it on a set piece with Harriel or Jack Elliott. Yep. So I think some of them are going to need to bounce their way. But look, they've gotten those bounces at home, and they've been getting them all season. So who's to say they can't get them against Messi in Miami?
Whoever wins this game should be winning it all. So because Monterey and Nashville are on the other side. Monterey's
pretty good, aren't they?
Oh, they're very good. Yeah. And Nashville is too. But ultimately, I think the Union can beat both of those squads. And I think the Union can win this evening. It's just going to be really tough without Carranza. All right, on to the next question here. Philly Debatable on August the 15th. Sean Brace, John Jansen. Speaking of tonight's game, it's incredible. The amount of money, ticket sales in Miami alone for Messi have gone up 500%. Anywhere this guy goes, it's literally like a pop star. I said Ringo Starr because I went to the Beatles yesterday. More like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, you can because I heard somebody else bring up the Beatles yesterday.
Okay, the Beatles, but not Ringo Starr specifically.
There's only 2 of them that are alive.
Okay. And one of them is much
Paul
more
McCartney.
One of them's more popular than the other.
Peace and love, John Jansen. Peace and love. Question number 2 here, Phil Debatable. I'll go first. What sporting event would you pay $850 to stand and watch? The Union released more tickets this morning, and the price was $850 for standing room only. I don't hate on the Union. People are willing to spend that money. Sure, go and get it. For me, if I'm standing, it's got to be quick. And therefore, the answer is easy. Kentucky Derby. I want good spot up against the rail, maybe in a suite, maybe
you pay $850 for that.
Oh, you got to spend more money than that, but $850 to get a seat that you're ultimately going to be standing up to watch the race. I've been to Saratoga. I've been to Parks. I haven't been anywhere else as far as horse racing is concerned. I've driven by Meadowlands. All I know is it's got to be quick. If I'm standing, keep it moving. $850 Kentucky Derby, my answer. Over to you.
I don't know if this would be considered a sporting event, but it's something that's going to be happening in Philly. I mean, the tickets, my brother had to spend close to this amount, $850 for WrestleMania tickets. Oh! I imagine I'm going to have to spend close to that. But yeah, $850 for WrestleMania sounds good. But it's just, it's fascinating because this is, A, not even the most popular sport in this country, but B, it's for one player. Whenever is one player going to amount to this much money? It's wild to me. People don't see this to spend to see this, to see Tom Brady, I guess $850 for an NFL game, maybe Super Bowl prices.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
But you're not spending that to see Tom Brady. You're not spending that to see Patrick Mahomes. I don't even know if you're going to spend this to see Michael Jordan back in the day. And I think he's been the most global American superstar that we have ever had in this country. Messi is a global superstar. He attracts this attention. It's crazy because I would not spend this amount for anything, any person in any sport, in any sporting event. But for Messi coming to Chester in Subaru Park, that is appealing to me. So I get why it is. And there's not many things I would do that other than for something I really enjoy. And as you just said, for pop stars. This is like Taylor Swift. Yeah. This is the Eras Tour. This is Beyonce. Yeah. That's what this is. So, and Beyonce's, I think, the Renaissance Tour. I want to make sure I got my pop culture facts right. It's...
Dead and Company was going for pretty close to that. Absolutely.
Okay,
not in Philadelphia.
That's
Final three.
Okay.
But I said sporting event. You're going into concerts. That's not fair.
That's what I mean, though. It's not fair because I don't think there's anything in sports you can compare this to. I think your comparison would be, as you just mentioned, I think it was a really, really smart comparison by you. It was pop stars.
I appreciate that.
That's really where the comparison lies.
Put that on the soundboard. What I do know is this. I was just talking to our president, Jeff Moore, over here at iHeartRadio. And I said that, I go, if Michael Jordan in 2023, right? Like if LeBron's calling it a career, tickets are going for above $850. People are paying that to go see him. His final couple games. But here's the difference. Like I said, I brought up Jordan. Like these guys are on their way out. Right, Jordan would have been on his way out with
and
the
you said final couple games.
Yeah,
this is over
LeBron.
and over and over again for Messi.
This is Messi, not in his prime by no means, but just won the World Cup, still playing at an electric level. And you see the difference what he makes with Miami right now.
Yeah, and when obviously in the regular season, when I think you can move these games and not be at risk like you are in the semifinal with Leagues Cup, but you can move it to the link, and they're going to probably do that. I would imagine that they're in plans to do that next year, right? Yeah. To do that. So it's not like this thing is just a couple of games and then it winds down. This is Messi every time he goes into your city, into your club's away stadium, that the prices are going to be jacked up, or they're at least going to be in bigger venues, which is that's insane. That will never happen with LeBron James, as you just mentioned. Like in his last year, it could be the last couple of games, but that's only a couple of games. This is over and over again, and for almost a year now, this is going to be like this.
All right, question number 3. Keep it moving here. Philly Debatable. Let's talk a little Philadelphia Eagles as they opened up their preseason over the previous weekend against the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Baltimore. Question number 3 over to you, John Jansen. You go first. Eagles preseason, your number one takeaway versus the Ravens is what?
Have I gushed enough about Jalen Carter yet? Can I continue to gush about Jalen Carter? This defensive line, look, I think, linebacker, safety, we kind of have questions about them because a linebacker, we're not so sure if Nakobe Dean can step up and be that starter. How is Nicholas Morrow going to look, and what do they get out of Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham? I don't know if those questions are really going to be answered in preseason or answered really until probably the middle of the season if these become problems, and especially at safety as well, trying to figure out that second spot next to Reed Blankenship. But I think what I can see is a defensive line that still has depth. They lost Javon Hargrave, who was a double-digit sack guy, and I think they improved on Javon Hargrave's spot with Jalen Carter. And to see that in the first snap that he's ever played on an NFL field, and the second, only played 2 snaps in that preseason game, made that much of an impact, I think that's special. So to me, it's the defensive line is still special. And that defense is going to be, I think, really good like they were last season. You have 2 great all-pro cornerbacks, but your defensive line keeps its depth and also its quality as well with Jalen Carter. And I think to me, that's the biggest takeaway. Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift look good, and I don't take too much stock out of Gainwell and Scott not playing. But really, it's just the defensive line's still great.
All right. You're one of the very few that don't put a little stock into that running back situation.
No need to.
We'll have plenty of time to discuss that over the next 3 weeks. And, of course, the season opener against the New England Patriots fast approaching, so we got plenty of time to get into the depth chart. I'm not going to get too carried away after one preseason game, but a lot of people are. Anyways, I digress. This question here on Philly Debatable, your number one takeaway versus the Ravens. It's easy. I gave out a winner. I opened up the NFL
of course you got to make it about
2023 season with a winner. Now, I'm telling you right now, folks, there are plenty of people out there that are giving you picks and props and everything along those lines. Stop it. I'm not one of these people. I'm not here to tell you make 7 picks each game. I told you there's one play. Preseason game number 1 versus the Baltimore Ravens. And the Philadelphia Eagles were catching 6 points. And we all knew about that straight up run that the Ravens have been on, 23 straight. Yeah, I didn't care about any of that. Neither do the Eagles. But guess what? 6 points. Obviously, too many points there. So a 20-19 victory. We are now 1-0 on the NFL season. Praise for winnings this year, baby. DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure you use promo code BRACE. Let them know that you're listening, especially new users.
It was just pat yourself in the back for 2 minutes.
1-0, dog.
That's your takeaway?
1-0.
That's your
it's
takeaway.
It's preseason. What else am I supposed to take away?
There could be takeaways.
All right, I got it.
The secondary potentially has depth. I mean, do you want to talk about DeAndre Swift, or do you want to talk about Rashad Penny? I mean, what's the takeaway? Not, I won, and pat yourself in the back. Thanks, Brace.
No, you're right.
You made that all about you.
Well, that's what this show's all about for me.
Oh, is it?
Eli Ricks with the nice pick 6, undrafted rookie from Bama. We like that. There's some depth there. You're talking about a very, a strong defensive back room, if we're honest with ourselves, especially with Slay and Bradbury. Shout out to Bradbury.
And Avonte Maddox. We got to say his name.
Love Avonte, exactly. So maybe the concerns were there for some at the safety position. We'll find out more over the next couple weeks, of course, as the depth chart slowly.
You know what helps safeties, though? When they don't have to worry about too much guys getting downfield because you're either sacking the quarterback quickly or Bradbury and Darius Slay have guys locked down. It helps out a lot.
Couldn't agree more. And to the people out there that want to claim that Kenneth Gainwell will be the number 1 back, I think we said this on yesterday's show. It's real easy to trust your eyes. DeAndre Swift is a much better running back than – is he the best running back on the team? He might be
the most well-rounded. Yeah, I think overall,
so
just like
I'm not getting too caught up in anything right now. I think Gainwell showed what he's worth last year. Had a really good end of season run. But for me to sit here and listen to people tell me he's going to be a bell cow or the number 1 option, and I want to ask that question. My follow-up would be, what's the difference? If Gainwell is your number 1, he's going to lead the team in, let's just say, rushing. What's the difference? Who's number 2, and how many more rushes does he get? Because at the end of the day, that's what we know about this Eagles team from last year. It's so hard to hit on these props because they spread it out. They're so talented, and that offense is really damn good at the end of the day. So we'll learn a lot more over these next couple of weeks. Next question here on Philly Debatable, though, as I am tutoring John Jansen in the world of sports here. Let's talk a little.
All you do is just compliment yourself. You are unbelievable.
Question number 4. Unfortunately, the Phillies ended up losing 2 out of their final 3 games of the 10-game homestand. And the Twins had 2 pretty good pitchers going up against them. And now everybody's losing their minds. And they're going, oh, man, what the heck just happened? Because the vibes were immaculate. The vibes were high, as the kids say, rolling into that Minnesota Twins series. And unfortunately, they ended with a 6-4 record over the 10-game stretch at home. Now, night off last night on the road to Toronto, a very similar team, a good team, a team that they should go up there and take 2 of 3. Honestly, I believe that, including tonight's game. But for this one right now, the Phillies flamed out at home. Your thoughts on the 10-game homestand? I'll go first, since I kind of teed it up right there. As I said, of course, nothing was better than seeing Lorenzen pitch that no-hitter, first time since Cole Hamels for the Phillies. The scenes inside the ballpark, the wife, the mother, the story, losing his dad, the dad's birthday the following day. In that game, you had Weston Wilson, who went yard, his first at-bat, which was just tremendous. Castellanos hits his 200 home run. Like, so many things were just going right. They lost 2 or 3 to the Minnesota Twins. How do I judge that 10-game homestand? Great job. All right. You filled the 10 games with memories that we'll always remember here as Phillies fans. This team has shown you their strengths. They're showing you their bond inside the clubhouse. Yeah, they lost 2 or 3 to Minnesota. It's not the end of the world. It's regular season baseball. They play 162. They're going to lose a bunch of games throughout the course of a season. Just chalk it up to that. All I know is this. This team right now is 11 games over 500. They got the driver's seat as far as the number 1 wild card, and that's all that should be on their mind, is about solidifying home field advantage as much as they can, because the Braves are obviously going to win the division. So you want that wild card, that first round at home. That's all that matters for the Phillies from this point on.
Yeah, I think it's overall positive and everything you just mentioned there. But even taking it a step further, just with Trey Turner's performance, Kyle Schwarber's performance, Nick Castellanos finally looking better after the All-Star break, all positive signs. I think this was really the first sign for me of a Phillies team that actually looked like a National League contender. We can call them that because on paper, they look like that. They have all of that depth, all that talent in the lineup. Their starting pitching has been great. Their bullpen has been great all season long. Their pitching staff just in general has been amazing. One of the best in baseball. But for the first time, it felt like the lineup caught up and it looked like a National League contending team. Now you went up against probably 2 of the best pitchers in that homestand, and Pablo Lopez and Sonny Gray did not perform well. So that may be a little bit of just kind of a caution of, is this for real? What are these guys going to look like against great pitchers? But to me, I actually find that more to just be Minnesota's thing. That's why Minnesota, especially when you get to an American League wildcard matchup, when it's 3 games, the first 2 games, Minnesota is going to throw out Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez. I would worry if I was getting the last spot of the wild card in the American League. So I don't think that has more to do with the Phillies. I think it has more to do with Minnesota. But just, I guess, a caution of they went up against 2 of the best pitchers of that homestand and didn't perform well. But overall, though, all the performances went up. We have not seen this, no matter what the quality of opponent has been like. We have not seen performances like this from some of these guys this season. So that's encouraging. And again, I think it's the first time it really felt like a team that can compete with the Dodgers and the Braves. And really, those are the only 2 teams they're going to have to compete with.
Tonight, Wheeler on the mound, 7:07 first pitch. Phillies and Blue Jays. Phillies are minus 115 favorites here. Yusei Kikuchi getting the start for the Blue Jays.
It's a fun name to say.
Minus 105. I misspoke. There's only 2 games in Toronto for the Phillies, and 3 against the Nationals, 3 against the Giants, and I believe 3 against the Cardinals. And then they get the Angels at home. So that should be really fun as well to close out the month of August. All right. Question number 5. Let's keep it moving here. Philly Debatable on August the 15th. Sean Brace and John Jansen. And yesterday, the big story in the sports world, of course, was James Harden on his trip across seas to China and Hong Kong. Adidas stopped out in China and said that Daryl Morey is a liar and he will not be involved with any organization that Daryl Morey is involved in. And he repeated it again. Let's get to training camp. This should be fun. So it made it into a bigger conversation because this is old news, right? This is the 4th season in a row that James Harden has pulled this. It's going to be his 4th team in 4 years. We're talking about some of the bigger names in the game. Kevin Durant forced his way out. Every single offseason or trade deadline, it's just hold your breath, and hopefully your team has a star or 2 left that they can finish out the season and maybe compete for a championship. Unless you're the Philadelphia 76ers, where you know that there's going to be a second-round exit. But the question that I have right now is, to the bigger picture here when it comes to the NBA, what is the state of the NBA? And I'll go first here because, in my opinion, the NBA embraced what the whole drama saga is and the social media culture that is hashtag this league when it comes to the NBA. Like, everything is about the headlines and the drama and the back and forth. And I said this and no, I didn't. And the agent says he wants out. I didn't say that. You didn't hear from my mouth. Like, this is ridiculous. Stars want out, and I get it. They get their money, and that's all that matters to them. And hey, look, they worked really hard to get to that point. But as a consumer, as a fan of the league, what is it known for right now? Is it known for the Denver Nuggets and what Joker just did? Or is it more known for every trade deadline, every offseason, those stars are going to push their ways out, trying to build a super team to make life a hell of a lot more fun? You know, James Harden wants to go to LA for one reason and one reason only, because he wants to be in LA. That's it. It's not about giving an opportunity or a best chance to win a championship with the LA Clippers. Come on. It has nothing to do with that. And now you got, of course, Damian Lillard wants to leave Portland to go to Miami. I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about the culture of Miami, but come on. Of course he wants to go to Miami. Who doesn't want to go to Miami? It's just absurd right now. This NBA, the game's got to speak for itself a little bit more. I know it's the offseason, but I know I'm not alone with the way I'm thinking here.
Bingo. I think you're absolutely right. It has to be more about the games. And guess what's been lackluster, especially in the regular season? The games.
Yep.
Because every time it seems like we get a big matchup, Embiid's not going to play against Jokic. Somebody's going to sit on, national televised ESPN game, and there's going to be a day of rest for a star player. I'm not saying that they can't rest, but we're taking away things on the court and what we're supposed to be watching the game. Now, embracing social media, I get it, because you want your fan base to get younger. Younger fans are good. And the NBA was getting that and is getting that with social media. But at some point, the games are going to have to speak for itself and not the drama. Look at baseball. Baseball is getting younger. Baseball is getting more fun. Why, Sean? Because the games are better. Because the games are more exciting.
Yeah.
Stolen bases are now a thing. Games are shorter. And I think all the
just
things
no home run shovel.
Oh, easy. Well, again, you want to get younger, and look at the kids we're seeing on the Little League World Series at the biggest stage doing that, emulating what they see on TV. So Major League Baseball got it right. Their games are fun. I actually enjoy watching Major League Baseball, and I think most people do now, and I think the ratings speak for itself. The NBA, it's not fun. The NBA is terrible to watch in the last 5 minutes of the game. The NBA is terrible to watch because we're not getting these matchups that we want, because players are sitting out in these big moments in big regular season games, and all we're getting is James Harden in China saying Daryl Morey is a liar, Joel Embiid taking Philadelphia off all of his social media accounts. That's what the NBA has become. So I think embracing social media is one thing. I think early on it was a very good culture that NBA was embracing, but I think it's gotten to the point where all NBA culture is now is who's your top 5 NBA player all-time greats, who's your top 5 point guards, and doing those lists, and then also just talking about the drama and the zeitgeist of what's happening in the NBA. It's all brutally bad, and I think it's gone overboard to the point where the NBA is trying to figure out what the heck do we do with this, because it's really not talking about the game, and the game itself is not as excited.
Yeah, these players are getting paid a ton of money. And again, I'm not hating on anybody getting that cash, but look at Jaylen Brown. He's the highest paid player in the game. Like, okay, really? And then honest with yourself, how many years is he going to be in Boston? Just got that contract. I'll take the under on 2. Let's just put it that way. 2.5, I'm taking the under. So that's just the state of the NBA. I know we're dealing with it because it's the offseason, but I think a lot of people are kind of frustrated.
Yeah, and I'm very pro player, and so I'm trying to check myself whenever I see something like this come up, especially James Harden, and think that, okay, is this something that is overboard? But It's enough is enough. It's annoying.
4 straight years.
I don't need to see it play out like this. This is drama that doesn't interest me. This is all just things that are being acted with the face on, so James Harden can say out loud, Daryl Morey is a liar and get traded somewhere. It's just using the machine for their own gains, which that's not fun. That's just watching people just play out drama that we don't need to see.
Well, they are airing those games on TNT, and nobody does drama like TNT. Anyways,
Really?
I kid. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. Let's go ahead and give us our final thoughts here for Philly Debatable on August the 15th. John Jansen, you can go first.
I love that this game is being played at Subaru Park. I know we can get all the things at Lincoln Financial Field out of the way potentially next season when Miami comes into town, but it's something seeing a park that they have had so many memories in an Eastern Conference final that also, Sean, you know this, they've had so many bad memories in. Not a lot of good things have happened all the time for the Philadelphia Union. So to see Subaru Park filled the way it's going to be, potentially with celebrity faces in the crowd that you usually don't see, I think that is something to celebrate of not only Messi coming into town, and this is a big moment for the league, but a big moment for the Union because, well, they're a great team and they've cultured this environment that is going to be very exciting to see. It's not always that way for Subaru Park. I'm glad we're getting it.
All right, 30 seconds over to me. And look, I'm not one of these guys that wants to sit here and say that robot umpires are going to fix everything. But what I can guarantee is that they will get the correct call as far as strikes are concerned. Balls and strikes, right? And enough is enough. What just took place on Sunday with the bases loaded and Alec Boehm getting called strike 3, it just can't happen. That's just not acceptable. When these teams are out there gutting it out 162 in the summer heat, you got to get the call right. And that's what we want. That's all we care about. I know that they're trying this thing in minor leagues where you can challenge a call like tennis. Don't even waste your time with that because we'll just be seeing.
In tennis, that's becoming a problem.
Well, it's just gonna lead to more issues. So all you need to do is just make it a robot strike zone. The drama will still be there. The suspense, be 3-2 count. Boehm takes that pitch. It's inside. He doesn't know. Is it a strike? He looks back at the ump. It's a ball. The suspense is there. You just don't know. So let's just go to the robot strike zone, make it easy, get the call right 99.5% of the time, and everybody can go home happy. All right.
I got to admit, Brace, you had a pretty good show today.
Yeah, man.
That was a good point.
I'll drink that.
I mean, it's not like you've been like that all the time, but that was a good show. I'll actually give you credit for that one.
Red Bull. Give your body wings. I think that's what the saying is. Anyway, it's today's edition of Philly Debatable, folks. John Jansen, Sean Brace here. Catch us Monday through Friday on the Daily Ticket. We are always streaming on the iHeartRadio app, or make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fox Sports The Gambler, where we will be giving away WrestleMania tickets and Birds tickets coming up for the upcoming season. We got a lot to do. Fox Sports The Gambler on YouTube and always on the iHeartRadio app. This is Philly Debatable.